and then continue with the rest of the analysis. All right, everybody has their time and absorbance in? All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to convert the absorbances into concentrations, but we need the extinction coefficient here. The extinction coefficient, this is coming from the 1987 data, not the 1914 data. And the extinction coefficient, the number was 112,000. And the units here, I put in a separate cell because we don't want to mix the numbers and the units. Otherwise, the Excel can't do the calculations properly. All right, then we should put in the reference for this extinction coefficient. So maybe I'm going to just write in the 1987 because of the year, because we don't have too many. The reference is actually, the reference is going to be on the third version I put here. This is it. This seems like a good reference. Color chemistry, synthesis properties, and applications of organic dyes and pigments, BCH. All right, now to calculate the concentration, which is, in version 2, I just used the straight absorbances, because absorbance and concentration are proportional, and so we can see just looking at the absorbance. But since we have this, let's go ahead and calculate the concentration. Concentration is equal to the absorbance. Absorbance is in cell B7, so I just click on B7. Divided by the extinction coefficient. The extinction coefficient here I'm putting in D4, which is different than what I had before. I forgot where I put it before. But we have to do something here. We need to put a $ in front of the 4. Why?
So it could keep the extinction?
Yeah, because the extinction coefficient only occurs in one cell, and so we need to fix that cell. I could put a $ in front of the D, but it shouldn't change as long as I stay in the C column. And then hit enter. But you know, the concentrations are so small, the number comes out 0.00005 zeros. And so what I need to do is I'm going to format this right now by right-clicking on the cell and then go to Format Cells down here. And then you have choices for the numbers. I'm going to put it in scientific with 3 decimal places. Or 2 decimal places, okay, too. Okay, now that looks better. And then I'm going to copy and paste this all the way down.
Professor, how did you change the decimal place?
Okay, I'll go through that. Just a second. All right. To format this, I click on the cell, right-click, Format Cells. And then when you hit scientific, it asks you how many decimals. There's an up arrow, down arrow, or you can just type it in.
Okay.
So if I want more, I just increase it. It gives you a sample. If I want less,
So you wanted 3?
2 or 3. And I put 3 because the number is changing very slowly, so I put in 3.
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah.
B7.
All right, so that's the concentration. And then what we want to do is we want to make 3 plots, concentration versus time, the natural log of concentration versus time,
Yeah, just.
and one more, 1 over the concentration versus time. Now the units here, what are the units of concentration? I better put it in before I forget. The units are going to be in molar. All right, for the natural log of concentration, we aren't going to put any units in that. The natural log of the concentration is just equals ln, and then parentheses, C7, what happened? ln, parentheses, C7, close parentheses, and then enter. All right, that's looking good. Something happened here. All right, and then we could copy and paste that all the way down, or, you know, I'm going to save a little bit of time here. I'm going to go ahead and put the formula for 1 over concentration. This is equals 1 divided by C7, like that. Here, wow, 1 over the concentration is a big number. I'll just leave it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight both these cells and copy both of them all the way down. Just to save a little bit of time. All right, now I have my data set up for my plots. So is everybody with me?
Yes.
Yes? All right, now I need to select my X data. There's 2 ways, you know, click and drag or click and shift click. So click and drag, you know, I'd do that if the data table weren't so long. Right, but it's kind of long, so click and drag is fine. But for the other one, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do click and shift click. And so what I'll do here is I'm going to do a control click and then let go. And then scroll down and then shift click. And so if I were to select the first column of data this way, I would have done a shift, click, shift, click, and then for the second column you have to do the control, click, shift, click. Then we go to insert, scatter, just a plain scatter plot like this. All right, then I want to get rid of this series 1. I don't want this here. So let's delete that. Let's go ahead and put some, let's go to the layout tab here. Do you see the layout tab up here? I'm going to go to the layout tab and then add a title. Oh, here it is. Chart title. We're going to do above chart. And then you can type this in the bar here or in the cell. I type it in the bar here because that way I don't have to highlight the chart title to delete it. And so I'm just going to call this, what do we call this? Concentration of CV plus versus time. Enter. And then we do the axis. You know, we'll do the x-axis first. This is going to be time in minutes. And then we're going to do the y-axis. I do it rotated, and then this one's going to just be concentration in molar. I'm going to get rid of these grid lines. We don't need those. Oops, I didn't want to delete that. All right, now we either click this trend line button here, or we right-click on the data point. We do a linear trend line. Oops. Don't click the trend line button because it doesn't let you format it. It just adds it automatically. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to right-click on the data and then add trend line. This gives us some choices here. We're going to do linear. And then we're going to click the bottom two boxes. Display equation, display R squared value. Click on the bottom two boxes, hit enter. And so now I have my equation and my R squared value. But the problem with the equation is there's only one sig fig, and one sig fig is too much rounding. And so I'm going to right click on the box here and then format trendline label. And then I'm either going to click on number and increase the number of decimals. Let's go with 6 decimals here. But even with 6 decimals, the number is too small. Do you see that? And so I'm going to convert it to scientific. So format trend line. Let's go scientific. And then I'm going to go with 3 decimals. Okay, I'm going to make this trend line more visible by thickening it. And so line style from point 3/4 of a point to 2 point.
Where did you go after format trend line?
For which one?
For the previous one, it's just there, format trend line.
All right.
When you change to 6 decimal place or 6 decimal place.
Oh, that wasn't trend line. That was up here. Format data, trend line label. Format trend line label. Click on that.
Okay.
And then the number, you have a whole bunch of different number options. Go to scientific with maybe 2 or 3 decimal places. Okay, any other? Are we good with this plot? All right, take a look at the R squared. What do you see about the R squared value? 0.95 is not good enough. All right, so let's move this plot over and then let's make the next plot. And so I'm going to click and shift click the X data. And then I'll control click and then, control click, let go, scroll down, and then shift click. Okay, this is good. And then insert, scatter, here. Now the x-axis is at the top. A lot of people don't like that. They like the x-axis on the bottom. And so we can move it. Right-click on the y-axis or y-axis data point, and then format the axis. And then we see here, horizontal axis crosses. It's set automatic. We don't want that. We're going to click here and set it for the bottom of our chart. My chart bottoms out at -14, so I'm going to put in -14 here. And so that throws the axis on the bottom. Get rid of the series. And then we need to put in a title. Well, you don't have to do much. Just ln a concentration. Oops. Okay, and then the horizontal time. All right, now I'm going to get rid of these grid lines. We don't need it for this, so let me delete the grid lines. And then let's add a trend line. Linear, click at the bottom. I'm going to make it thicker so we can see it. Line style, let's go up to 2 point. Here I don't need to use scientific notation. And I have enough digits here, so I'll just leave it at there. Now look at my R squared. I got 3 nines. 3 nines is looking pretty good, but we should see the last plot to see if we get more nines.
Oh, okay.
And so let's move this one aside. And then we're going to go to the last plot, which is, we could click and drag. I'll click and drag this. which takes too much time on a long table. So instead, I'm going to do a control click for the second column and then a shift click. Then let's go to insert, scatter. Actually, you know, with my data, does this look very linear?
No.
No, but we're going to plot all of them. And so we need to do the same thing. We need to add the title and the axis labels. We need to add a trend line, show the equation and the r squared. Okay, so why don't you finish that? And then once we're done with that, what we're going to do is we're going to plot this. But we want to plot it on one page. And so this is my old data here from my other. We want to plot everything on one page to save paper. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just line up the three charts alongside my data table. And then I'm going to select a plot area. I'm going to do a click and then shift click so everything is included in there. Actually, maybe I'll just click and drag. That's too small, sorry. I want to go at least this big. And then I'm going to do this. I need to select print area. Oh, here it is. It's under page layout, set print area. Good. Now I set the print area like this. I'm going to print preview this. I don't have this version of Excel, so I don't know where the print preview is. It's the print preview.
That was on the right side.
Go control V.
Well, it's on the right side, but you know I'm on 2 pages. I don't want 2 pages. So I'm going to make sure this prints on 1 page by doing page setup. Oh, here it is. Custom scaling. Fit sheet on 1 page. Okay, there we go. If I fit it on 1 page, I can blow up the graphs a little bit bigger. So I'm going to close this here. Yeah, actually you want to save this periodically. Make sure. Oh, I see. So we can make these plots a little bit bigger. Oh, no wonder. Come on, this one. All right, if you have a chart highlighted, this is what's going to happen. If you have a chart highlighted, then the chart is going to print on 1 page, but we don't need the chart to print on 1 page. So it's going to be a waste of paper. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure this whole thing actually
That many units of time. You only took,
prints on one page.
No, just go to, well, you can change it so it's more order. You just go to the end. So
Oh, but only.
Something like
So
that.
I remember the beginning we were doing 5 jobs.
and then you can also on it.
All right, so again, you're going to print run 1 on one page, you know, all the data plus all the charts just on one page. And then you'll print run 2 on one page.
I think the ones that
For run 1 and run 2 are done.
some of them are questionable.
Yeah, run 2 is just a repeat of run 1.
And that's why I
exact
also
same
go
thing.
with Bob, so we can have like a speech.
All right, is that clear? All right, so keep going at that. And once you're done with run 2, then I'm going to go to sheet 3 of the Excel. Unless, should I go through it now?
Wait, sheet 3.
Let's see.
What is sheet 3 for?
Yeah, let's talk about sheet 3 now, since this is recording. Sheet 3 is for the calculations for this lab. Some of the calculations are kind of repetitive, so we could use Excel to do it. And so one of the calculations is we need to make a modification here. What was our crystal violet concentration? Did somebody have that?